He found a strange wishing machine at the amusement park. The machine wasn't plugged in, yet it was working perfectly fine. Out of curiosity, he inserted a coin, pressed the red button, and made a wish to the machine.
I wish I were big.
The next second, the machine's puppet swallowed the coin, and a card popped out, reading, "Your wish is granted." At first, Josh didn't think much of it, dismissing it as some bored person's prank. Little did he know, this would set him on a fantastic journey. That night, the wind howled and thunder rumbled. Josh tossed and turned in bed as his body began to change subtly. In the morning, he went to the bathroom to wash his face as usual, only to find a complete stranger staring back at him in the mirror. He couldn't believe that the wish he made last night had actually come true. With a mature face and a muscular body, the 12-year-old had seemingly grown more than 10 years overnight. His childhood clothes no longer fit him, so he had to put on his father's clothes and rushed out of the house as quickly as he could. He needed to find the wishing machine from last night and turn himself back. But when he rode his bike back there, all he saw was a mess. The strange wishing machine was nowhere to be found. Josh had no choice but to return home. He tried to explain everything that happened last night to his mother, but she mistook him for a robber. To prove his identity, he quickly told her his birthday, his exam scores, and his favorite baseball team. Hearing that this stranger knew so much about her son, the mother became even more convinced that he had kidnapped her child.
Bastard, what did you do to my son?
I am your son, Mom.
Where is my child?
Mom.
Where is my son?
Mom.
Police!
Josh fled and went to his best friend Billy's house, but Billy didn't believe him either. Josh had a brainstorm and decided to use his ultimate trump card.
The space goes down, down, baby, down, down the roller coaster. Sweet, sweet, baby, sweet, sweet, don't let me go. Shimmy, shimmy, cocoa pop, shimmy, shimmy, rock. Shimmy, shimmy, cocoa pop, shimmy, shimmy, rock. I met a girlfriend, a Trisket. She said a Trisket, a biscuit, ice cream, soda pop, vanilla on the top. Ooh, Shalita, walking down the street 10 times a week. I met it, I said it, I stole my mama's credit. I'm cool, I'm hot, sock you in the stomach 3 more times.
It was a secret little song that only the two of them knew, as reliable as a DNA test. They successfully completed the secret handshake, but by this time, Josh's parents had already called the police. To the world, Josh was now a wanted kidnapping suspect. Billy brought Josh some old clothes from home. Hiding like this all day wasn't a long-term solution. Even if he went home now, the police wouldn't believe such a fantastical and absurd story. The two decided to go into the city to look for the wishing machine. While waiting for the bus, Billy stuffed a large stack of cash into Josh's hand. He had specifically stolen his father's hidden savings. They arrived in bustling New York City and checked into a run-down hotel, but Billy had to be home before 10 o'clock. This meant Josh would have to spend the night alone. Billy comforted him, saying tomorrow was the weekend, and he would help search for the wishing machine together.
Just one night. Alright?
Alright.
Good.
After Billy left, Josh locked the door securely. He was still just a 12-year-old child. A sudden gunshot rang out from outside, and the timidity of a child was fully exposed in that moment. He quickly closed the windows, barricaded the door with a cabinet, curled up in bed, covered his ears with a pillow, and cried out for his mother. Like most timid children, he cried for a long time that night. Early the next morning, Josh and Billy went to several arcades in a row, but they still couldn't find that strange wishing machine. With a kind person's reminder, the two went to the Consumer Affairs Department to find out the location of the amusement park. But the staff's efficiency was really slow. It would take a month to process the procedures and 6 weeks to get the result. This meant Josh had to be an adult for at least 42 days. What's more, there was no guarantee they would even find the wishing machine.
I'm gonna be 30 years old for the rest of my life.
Would you come on? We'll figure something out. By the way, you may be older than that.
The two inexperienced kids were full of curiosity about this place. Since they had finally grown up, they decided to enjoy the adult life to the fullest. But the most important thing right now was to find a job to support themselves. They ate snacks that their parents wouldn't let them eat while looking through the newspaper for jobs. A job as a computer operator at a toy company caught Josh's attention. To increase his chances of getting the job, Josh lied on his resume, saying he had 4 years of computer experience and graduated from the University of Washington. Coincidentally, the interviewer said his brother-in-law also graduated from there and even got a doctorate. He was very satisfied with Josh's performance in the interview and hired him on the spot.
When can you start?
Soon?
He successfully joined the company. A senior colleague took him to his workstation and assigned his work for the day. All he needed to do was enter customer information into the computer. Josh said he had 4 years of computer experience, but that experience was just playing computer games for 4 years. Luckily, the operation was simple, and Josh picked it up easily, but the fast sound of his keyboard tapping annoyed his colleagues.
Listen, what are you trying to do? Get us all fired? Huh?
You gotta slow down, pace yourself. Slowly, slow.
Sorry. Today's my first day.
I know.
Doing minimal work was an unspoken rule here. This job was both simple and boring. If the boss saw them finishing work quickly, the consequences could be a pay cut at best or being laid off at worst. Seeing his colleagues chatting around him, Josh took the chance to call his mother. He pretended to be a kidnapper and told his mother that her son was safe, asking her not to worry.
He was.
Look, I swear to God, if you do anything to him, if you touch one hair on his head, I will spend the rest of my life making sure you suffer.
Hearing how much his mother cared about him, a warm feeling welled up in Josh's heart. In this world, no matter where you are, there is always someone waiting for you to come home. He hung up the phone and went back to work. The company's performance was declining day by day, and the market research yielded no results. The senior management expressed their dissatisfaction with each other. While being ordered around by a colleague, Josh accidentally bumped into the boss. But contrary to expectations, the boss didn't get angry. Instead, he highly approved of Josh's work attitude. The innocent Josh was about to change his own fate and the company's fate. Without the restraint of adults, Josh's life became free and unrestrained. He only ate the filling of sandwich cookies, sat as close to the TV as he wanted, and had long been used to the sound of gunshots outside. Gradually, Josh got used to adult life and adapted to this job. A week passed quickly, and Josh earned his first paycheck in life.
$187?
Yep.
Ah! Fuck!
They really screw you, don't they?
Although it was only $187. To 12-year-old him, it was like a huge sum of money. The first thing Josh did after getting the check was go to the bank with Billy to cash it. They bought a lot of snacks and celebrated in the hotel room. At that moment, Josh finally experienced the joy of being an adult. No wonder adults are never picky about food, because they only buy what they like to eat. More good luck came one after another. On the weekend, he went to the company's toy store, hoping to continue looking for the wishing machine there. But faced with the dazzling array of toys, he quickly got absorbed in playing and forgot all about his original purpose. This place was like a paradise for him. With his childlike innocence still intact, he let himself go completely, forgetting that he was in an adult's body at that moment. This scene was just seen by the company's boss.
You work for me, don't you?
Yes.
The boss came to check the store every weekend to get feedback on how much children liked the toys. This was data that couldn't be found in market reports. The two wandered around the mall together. Josh kept sharing his unique insights on some popular toys with the boss, and also put forward corresponding improvement suggestions and methods for various toys. After all, playing with toys was the only thing he knew how to do. But in the boss's eyes, the playful Josh became a good employee who was of great help to the company's products. At this time, they walked to a floor piano. Josh happily started playing, and the boss joined in. The jumping piano keys made clear notes, like pearls falling on a jade plate. He put aside the dignity that an entrepreneur should have and jumped happily in front of a group of children. This was the first time since he founded the company that he had taken time out of his busy schedule to enjoy this moment of beauty. Unexpectedly, the two got along surprisingly well. The onlookers applauded warmly.
What department did you say you were in?
Oh, I'm in computers.
Computers?
The boss liked Josh's innocence and his unique views on products very much, so Josh was immediately promoted to vice president of the product creative department. His daily work was to experience various products of the company and then put forward improvement methods and suggestions. He also got a private office and a female secretary who specifically made tea and fetched water for him. Billy was extremely envious of Josh's current life. Josh had directly reached the peak of his life. This made the creative director very unhappy, who thought Josh's promotion threatened his position. At the company seminar, the creative director, wanting to deliberately make things difficult for Josh, talked eloquently and used various professional data to explain the advantages of the new product. Josh, who didn't understand any of this, played with the new toy that was about to be launched on his own. After the director finished speaking, Josh asked a crucial question.
It turns from a building into a robot, right?
Precisely.
Well, what's fun about that?
Well, if you had read your industry breakdown, you would see that our success in the action figure area has climbed from 27% to 45% in the last 2 years. There, that might help.
Josh didn't understand the business terms he was talking about. He just wanted to put forward suggestions sincerely and simply.
What?
Josh thought there were already many transformable robot toys on the market, and turning buildings into transformable toys was not innovative at all. Instead of making skyscrapers into toys, it was better to focus on insects or prehistoric animals, because buildings were always inanimate while insects could move, and this could lead to countless new products. Compared with the lifeless buildings that people saw every day, these creatures turning into robots would obviously be more popular with children. Josh's suggestion was an eye-opener for everyone present, and the atmosphere at the scene was instantly ignited. The boss directly decided to turn Josh's idea into reality. Josh's innocence was unique in this business world. He only cared about the customer's needs for the products. He had no idea that this innocence had unknowingly offended some malicious people.
Oh, he is vicious.
Not vicious.
Oh, come on, Susan, don't kid yourself. That man is a killer.
The director thought Josh was here to ruin his plans, so he asked manager Susan to find out about Josh's background everywhere. But they found that Josh seemed to have appeared out of nowhere. He didn't belong to any other toy company around. What they didn't know was that the missing person notice printed on the milk carton was exactly Josh. As soon as the new toys were launched, they caused a sensation. The company made a lot of money, and Josh's salary also increased accordingly. He moved out of the shabby hotel and rented a huge apartment, turning it into a small amusement park. He also took Billy to watch their favorite baseball game in the front row. In his spare time, he didn't forget to write letters to comfort his mother, saying that this period of time was like being at a summer camp. He was doing well, and asking them not to worry too much about his safety. One day, the company held a celebration party. All the colleagues were wearing black formal dresses, but Josh stood out from the others. He arrived proudly in a white tuxedo. When everyone was laughing at him, the boss took the initiative to greet him and said he thought Josh's clothes were very nice. The colleagues all bet that this guy would definitely get a raise again.
Now that's what I call a tuxedo.
With the boss by his side, Josh became the most eye-catching person at the party. An outstanding man always attracts the opposite sex, and Susan was full of curiosity about Josh. She took the initiative to talk to him, aiming to get a promotion through his connection. They went outside and got into the company's business car. Susan talked about adult worries, but Josh was only curious about the car's interior, which made Susan stop talking. She had originally wanted to say something to build a connection. He opened the sunroof and asked Susan to stand up to enjoy the breeze outside the car together. When the car passed Josh's apartment, Susan asked to go to his house for a visit. It seemed like she wanted something to happen between them.
I mean, I like you and I want to spend the night with you.
Okay. But I get to be on top.
As soon as she entered the house, Susan was shocked by Josh's home. It was like a children's kingdom. There was not a single decent piece of furniture, and everything looked very casual. Josh invited her to jump on the trampoline together. At first, Susan refused, but under the influence of Josh's innocence, she gradually let herself go. She gave up the dignity that a lady should have and jumped higher and higher without caring. This was probably the purest happiness she had experienced since entering the adult world. That night, both of them were children who hadn't grown up. When it was time to sleep, Susan looked expectant. She lay on the bed and deliberately struck a seductive pose, but to her surprise, Josh smiled, then jumped onto the upper bunk bed quickly. Only then did Susan understand what Josh meant when he said he wanted to be on top. Then she comforted herself silently. Maybe this was the so-called good man. At this moment, Josh gave Susan a luminous compass ring, hoping it would help her find her way in the dark. In recent years, she had been moving between various senior executives of the company. For her career, she had gradually ignored herself and also felt ashamed of herself. Susan had never experienced such touching kindness before. At this moment, she seemed to regain something she had lost for a long time. After that night, the director, who liked Susan, was filled with jealousy and decided to teach Josh a lesson. So that afternoon, he unexpectedly invited Josh to play tennis together. But after playing for a while, he took advantage of loopholes in the rules and hit the ball at Josh's face repeatedly. One was upholding the rules, the other was venting his anger. As expected, the two ended up fighting.
Give me the ball.
Cheater.
Give me
Cheat.
I do not
This
cheat.
guy cheats.
Give me the
He
ball.
cheats.
No.
Their behavior made everyone laugh. This game seemed to be just about competing for the ball, but in fact it involved more aspects of human nature that Josh couldn't understand. Susan carefully treated his wounds. Josh didn't understand why he wanted to hit him, but Susan knew very well. The adult world was full of competition. The workplace was like a battlefield without gunsmoke. Everyone tried their best and used all their tricks.
Well, you work just as hard as he does. You're not like that.
You don't know me that well.
Yes, I do. You're one of the nicest people I've met.
knew it.
In Josh's eyes, Susan saw the sincerity she hadn't seen for a long time. And sincerity always touches people's hearts. An affectionate kiss was enough to move any adult, let alone Josh, who still had a teenager's heart. After that day, Susan yelled at the director for Josh's sake, but she didn't expect the director to shout out her scheme in front of everyone.
Come on, Susan, he's just another link in the chain. First it was Tom Caulfield, then Hanlon, then Golding, then me. Am I missing somebody?
It's not like that anymore.
Josh was excited all afternoon, and his youth was gradually developing. That night, he saw the boss still working. This huge room couldn't hold his worries. The boss had many wonderful ideas, but he could never break through the market barrier for children under 12. He wanted to make toys that all children would like, but the research showed that children under 12 wanted toys, while boys over 13 wanted girls instead. And the boss's words made Josh understand an important moment in life. 13 was a milestone, and he would turn 13 the next day. People always grow up. This was the first time he had celebrated his birthday away from his parents, and Billy came to accompany him specially. The way children usually prove their friendship is by saying, "I only want to play with you." Just like the boss said, 13-year-old him now wanted girls. And when he left Billy behind, it was the beginning of him leaving his childhood behind. Josh knocked on Susan's door. The two of them sitting on the sofa lowered their heads slightly, and a blush quietly spread across their cheeks. Although they had 1,000 words in their hearts, they all turned into unspeakable shyness at this moment. In the silence, only that subtle affection quietly grew in their hearts. To ease the awkwardness, they went to the amusement park. They screamed freely on the roller coaster, played various rides together, and danced to the beautiful music. He had never been so close to someone he liked, nor had he ever touched a lover's waist. That night, they confirmed their romantic relationship. The next day, he took off his casual clothes and started to go to work in a suit and tie, just like an adult. He said good morning to every colleague he met. He no longer drank milk, but ordered a cup of sugar-free coffee instead. After work, he joined unnecessary social gatherings and listened to people he didn't know well talk about boring topics. He met Susan's family as a workplace elite. Seeing Josh kindly helping her nephew with homework, Susan's mother couldn't help but develop a favorable impression of him. It seemed that since that night, he had really grown into an adult. He had crossed time, spanning 18 years. Josh's face no longer had the childishness of innocence, only a maturity and steadiness that didn't belong to him. On the other hand, Billy was still playing with his favorite skateboard on the way home from school. At this time, the two of them could no longer feel the same kind of happiness. Under Susan's guidance, Josh's career went from strength to strength, but his transformation into an adult also made him lose his due childlike innocence. He would repeatedly confirm an idea with Susan, completely ignoring the girl who had helped him grow into an adult.
What is it we're doing?
Huh?
What's going on here?
Well, you know, we're...
She liked Josh's ideas very much, but she also noticed his change. Josh, who had lost his childlike innocence, became fussy at this moment. In the past, she could unconsciously feel happiness when she was with him, but now it was all about work.
How do you feel about all this?
How do I feel about what?
How do you feel about me?
Josh tried his best to imitate adult, but he didn't learn to care about others' feelings. The playful teasing he thought he was doing had already changed its meaning at this moment. Just at this time, Billy received a letter from the Consumer Affairs Department, and he hurried to find Josh. Josh was just busy dealing with work. His office, which was once full of toys, was now filled with all kinds of documents. Billy couldn't get in touch with Josh no matter what, so he hurried to the office. The current Josh obviously didn't have the enthusiasm he used to have. Billy angrily hung up the phone that Josh was answering. His action made Josh very unhappy. Josh had fully adapted to his current life, but Billy wanted him to face the truth about himself.
Who the fuck do you think you are?
Hey!
Hey, you're Josh Baskin, remember? You broke your arm on my roof. You hid in my basement when Robert Dyson was about to rip your head off.
You don't get it, do you? This is important.
I'm your best friend. What's more important than that, huh?
A harsh scolding is always the thing that wakes people up. Looking at Billy's leaving back, Josh felt lost. In order to regain the lost beauty, he returned to the street of his hometown. The bleak autumn wind not only brought coolness, but also awakened the frustrated boy in him. Everything seemed to have happened yesterday, yet it also seemed to have spanned 18 years. The autumn leaves had turned yellow. He seemed to see two children playing on the street. One was Billy, and the other was Josh. His peers had already graduated, and he stood there, quietly watching in a different posture. The result of growing up may be the same for everyone, but the experience of growing up is irreplaceable. Looking at the steel forest in front of him, Josh realized that what he had lost at this moment was not only his friend Billy, but also his carefree childhood. People always have to return to reality, and some truths always have to be revealed by someone.
Susan, I'm not what you think I am.
What do you mean?
I want to go home. I miss my family, Susan, and I want to go home.
Oh my God, you're married.
No.
I knew that this was too good to be true.
No, I'm
I
not-
knew
I'm
that
not
there had
married.
to be something.
Susan, I'm not married.
You're not?
No. I'm a child.
What?
I'm a child, Susan, and I'm not ready for all of this.
Josh told the story of how he was turned into an adult by the wishing machine, but this was beyond Susan's understanding. In her opinion, this was just an excuse for him to refuse to take on the responsibilities of a man. That night, Susan couldn't sleep all night. Josh's mother hadn't seen her son for a long time, but Billy didn't tell her about Josh's fantastic experience because he knew adults would never believe such a ridiculous thing. The next day, Billy found Josh again. He had called each contact on the list in the letter from the Consumer Affairs Department one by one and found the location of the wishing machine. He wrote down the address and handed it to Josh in person. This time, he let Josh choose for himself whether to stay and enjoy the treatment of a vice president or return to his childhood and continue his life.
Yes.
They're waiting for you, Mr. Baskin.
After Billy left, Josh went to the meeting room to talk about the newly developed product. It was an electronic comic book that allowed children to choose their own plot. The director didn't understand the selling point of this product, so he began to make things difficult for Josh with various professional terms. Susan saw this and took the initiative to help Josh out, saying that the selling point of the product was that children could choose the ending of the story by themselves at the end. This idea made the boss clap his hands in approval, and it also touched Josh. His life still had countless possibilities, and he wanted to experience different plots by himself. Seeing that the time was right, Josh turned around and left. This was the last gift he gave to the company.
With a retail cost of about $18.95.
Well, you expect a kid to pay $19 for a comic book?
I think a kid.
Susan began to realize that the target audience of the products Josh talked about was not children at all, but adults who were about to grow up. She recalled what Josh had said the night before and the ridiculous story, so she hurried to catch up with Josh, who was leaving. Billy, who was downstairs, saw Josh and knew he had made his choice.
Josh! See you back home!
Billy was excitedly looking forward to Josh returning to his childhood, and Susan also learned where Josh was going from him. The two rushed to Cape Park. Josh found the wishing machine first. He pulled out the power cord, but the machine still lit up. As he made a wish to turn back into a child, the puppet swallowed the coin he put in. Just at this moment, Susan also arrived. She didn't want Josh to leave like this, but the machine had already spit out the card, and Josh's wish had been granted. Susan finally believed that this was not a fairy tale. A 13-year-old child didn't understand what responsibility was. He only knew that he wanted to go home at this moment, so he did it.
I've been thinking about it, and there's a million reasons for me to go home, but there's only one reason for me to stay.
What reason is that?
You.
Susan accepted the fact that he was about to leave. Josh thought that if possible, she could also go back to being 13 years old. But Susan didn't want to go back to her childhood. She didn't want to recall those unpleasant past events. She drove Josh to his home. Although she was reluctant, Josh still had to return to his own life.
I'm gonna miss you.
I miss you too.
You won't even remember me.
Yes, I will.
They made a promise under the maple tree. Susan was willing to wait for Josh for 10 years, and they would be together again after 10 years. But in fact, everyone knew that this was probably just self-comfort. Before they parted, Susan kissed Josh for the last time, but this time it wasn't on the lips, but on the forehead. It was a respect for Josh's pure heart, and also a respect for moral principles. Josh's figure walked further and further away, and he was reluctant to say goodbye to Susan. In the blink of an eye, he turned back into the 13-year-old boy he used to be. When time quietly stood still with tears, 13-year-old Josh stood there. He looked back at Susan with deep affection in his eyes, trying to remember the girl who had taught him to grow into a man. The days when lovers are together are always beautiful, but the sound of returning to childhood is more pleasant. Even though they were full of reluctance in their hearts, they still tried to give each other a blessing and respect. Josh got rid of the shackles of adulthood like this, and returned to his original life with his longing for his mother.
missed you all so much.
The car that drove further and further away silently took away the recklessness in Josh's heart. The two of them would hold each other's memories and look for their future together in different ages. Some people hope that time will pass quickly like a rushing river, while others want time to flow slowly like a small stream. But all of this is just a fantasy after all. To adults, Josh was an unwelcome intruder. He broke the unspoken rules of the adult world from a child's perspective. The line between childhood and adolescence is just like what the boss said. A 13-year-old boy already wants girls. After growing up, we start to hide ourselves intentionally or unintentionally to meet the expectations of society and others. Just like Susan, a sexy and mature-looking workplace woman who never thought that she was once a little girl who would play on a trampoline and wear a luminous ring. She fell in love with Josh not only because of his innocence, but more because in front of Josh she could show herself freely, her lovely, emotional, and childish sides. That feeling of being accepted and tolerated is irreplaceable. We love someone not only because of who that person is, but more because of who we can be in front of that person. However, as the pressures of the adult world, work, life, love, began to approach Josh's 13-year-old heart gradually felt tired and lost. He began to think about whether this was the growth he wanted. To maintain the last dignity of the adult world, Josh chose to leave in a dignified way. Adults have their own responsibilities, and children also have their own responsibilities. Not making mom worry is a kind of responsibility, and not letting friends down is also a kind of responsibility. The result of growing up may be the same for everyone, but the experience of growing up is irreplaceable. Josh knew how to let go, and Susan didn't pester him. Only an innocent child can give up easily obtainable success so cleanly and return to his true self. And only a rational adult can send off the person he loves with blessings so calmly, letting them go on their own path. Growing up is about facing the cruelty of reality countless times, breaking and rebuilding one's outlook on life, values, and worldview, and strengthening one's beliefs after setback. It's going from anxiety to calmness, from unwillingness to acceptance, from being easy to get angry to being gentle, and from being discouraged to being calm. It's learning to turn trivial troubles into a peaceful and pleasant life. Growing up is a very brave thing, and only children can do it. Although childhood can never be reversed, childlike innocence can remain. By the way, I want to complain. It's really enviable that a child with no work experience can easily get a decent and easy high-paying job. It really makes people infinitely nostalgic for that golden age.